This is a space documentary about the most distant object that humanity has ever visited. This is Pluto. This is the dwarf planet at the edge of the solar system that was once considered the ninth planet. And this is New Horizons, the spacecraft that flew by Pluto 9 years ago today. There's been a lot of buzz lately with NASA releasing some stunning new images from the spacecraft, revealing its most detailed view yet of Pluto's largest moon, Charon. There's something poetic about these latest pictures. They were actually taken on Pluto's birthday, July 2022, exactly 36 years after its discovery. But it's hard to believe it's been almost a decade since New Horizons made humanity its first ever visit to this mysterious, icy world. On February 2006, New Horizons was launched into space aboard a Boeing Atlas V rocket. It carried with it a time capsule of sorts, containing letters addressed to Pluto written by students at various schools across America. The spacecraft arrived at Pluto in July 2015, having traveled for nearly 10 years, more than 9 billion kilometers through the cold void of space. As New Horizons approached, Pluto began to reveal itself. It was no longer just a dot, but an actual physical object. Scientists could see its heart-shaped feature called the whale heart. They could see its massive glaciers and its vast frozen plains. On July 14, 2015, New Horizons performed a gravity assist maneuver around Pluto's moon, Styx, which allowed it to slow down and go into orbit around Charon, Pluto's largest moon. It stayed there for 16 days, taking close-up pictures and collecting data before making its way back out to deep space. Pluto's discovery in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh was one of the greatest astronomical discoveries of the 20th century. It was the first new planet found since Neptune was discovered in 1846. At the time of its discovery, Pluto was located between Mars and Neptune, but with the discovery of other objects in the Kuiper Belt, scientists realized that Pluto wasn't really where it was supposed to be. It didn't belong with the planets. It belonged with all the other icy bodies in the outer solar system. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union defined a new category of objects to include Pluto, a dwarf planet. In the eyes of astronomers, Pluto lost its planetary status, but gained new wonder and mystery. The fact that it had moons of its own, including a moon named Charon, whose gravity was so strong that it kept Pluto in a three-dimensional figure 8-shaped orbit. New Horizons was humanity's chance to learn everything it needed to know about Pluto. Its principal investigator, Alan Stern of the Southwest Research Institute, says he always knew his mission would help restore Pluto's status as a planet. But despite the controversial nature surrounding Pluto's demotion, the main goal of the mission was not to prove anything. The main goal was exploration. After the spacecraft finally reached Pluto, scientists realized they had so much more to learn about this distant object. It was bigger than they thought. It had an atmosphere. It had more moons. It had a complex geology that hinted at a rich history. It even had mysterious dark spots that turned out to be water ice. It took New Horizons almost a year to reach Pluto. Scientists had to make sure they didn't miss anything important, so they programmed the spacecraft to take close-up pictures of every part of Pluto and its moons. At first, the pictures were grainy and blurry. They were also highly compressed to save space on the spacecraft's hard drive. But as the weeks went on, the pictures became clearer and clearer. It was like seeing a brand new world for the first time. We saw Pluto's surface like we'd never seen it before. We saw how diverse it was. We saw how dynamic it was. We saw how unique it was. We saw mountains and valleys. We saw craters and canyons. We saw vast plains of ice and vast plains of nitrogen ice. We saw frozen volcanoes. We saw organic materials that glowed red in the sunlight. And then there was Charon. It was even more fascinating than Pluto. New Horizons revealed that Charon was covered in a reddish material that hid most of its surface. This material turned out to be tholins, which are basically water ice crystals. Tholons gave Charon a rusty appearance, and they made it look like it was wearing a coat of paint. We also learned that Charon was not just a lifeless moon, but a geologically active world with cryovolcanoes that spewed water and ammonia onto its surface. These cryovolcanoes were larger than any volcano on Earth, and they created giant pits on Charon's surface. One of the most amazing things about Pluto is its colors. It turns out that this distant, icy world is a very colorful place, and the colors tell us a lot about what's happening on the surface. The red, orange, and yellow colors indicate the presence of organic molecules. These molecules are produced when methane gas reacts with solar radiation. The blue color indicates the presence of water ice. Water ice reflects more sunlight than other types of ice, so it makes Pluto look blue. Pluto's atmosphere is also very interesting. It's mostly made up of nitrogen gas, but it also contains methane and carbon monoxide. The atmosphere is very thin, so it doesn't protect Pluto from meteorites. In fact, most of the craters on Pluto's surface are from meteorite impacts. Now, while New Horizons did confirm some things about Pluto, it also raised more questions than it answered. For example, scientists still don't know why Pluto has an atmosphere. It shouldn't have one, but it does. Scientists also don't know why Pluto's crust is so smooth in some places. It looks like someone took a giant piece of sandpaper and smoothed out the surface. New Horizons also revealed that Pluto's core is bigger than expected. That means that Pluto has a lot more mass than scientists thought. But they still don't know what's inside the core. Is it rock or ice? These are just some of the many questions that remain unanswered about Pluto. But New Horizons is still sending back data and making new discoveries even 9 years later. For example, last year, scientists used New Horizons to study Pluto's magnetosphere. They found that Pluto has a very weak magnetic field. It's only about 1% as strong as Earth's magnetic field. They also found that Pluto's magnetosphere is dominated by the solar wind. The solar wind blows away most of Pluto's atmosphere. Scientists are also using New Horizons to study Pluto's moons. Pluto has 5 known moons: Charon, Styx, Kerberos, Hydra, and Nix. Charon is the largest moon, and it's also the most interesting. Styx is the second largest moon, and it's also the most mysterious. Scientists think that Styx may have a liquid ocean under its frozen crust. They also think that Styx may have a magnetic field that protects it from the solar wind. The other 3 moons are very small and very irregular. They probably got captured by Pluto's gravity long ago. There's still so much to learn about Pluto, but one thing is for sure. It's one of the most amazing worlds in the solar system. It's a place where ice flows like water, where mountains reach 11,000 feet into the air, and where the sky is filled with stars. And it's all thanks to one little spacecraft that dared to venture to the edge of our solar system. So let's all raise a glass to New Horizons, the most distant object that humanity has ever visited. Let's also raise a glass to Pluto, the most mysterious planet in the solar system. And let's raise a glass to both of them together, because without one, we wouldn't have been able to discover the other. I'm here for this channel, and my hope is that someday soon we can send humans out to explore the solar system. What do you think we'll find? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to learn more about Pluto or the New Horizons mission, check out the links in the description. And if you'd like to support my work, please consider becoming a patron. Your support helps me to keep producing these videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.